Yeah, so I've actually recorded this review twice already. Both times my mic wasn't plugged in. So that's annoying. So this review is probably going to be a lot shorter because I've already done it twice and I'm going to, just kind of speed through everything that I want to say. But yeah, we just had the penultimate episode of Superman and Lois' second season. The season's going to be over now till probably January or February after next week, which is kind of pretty long wait for this show. It's going to be much longer than season 1 because season 1 ended in August and then we only have to wait till early January-ish. But yeah, honestly, as penultimate episode, this was pretty good at setting up kind of where the show is and where the show is going to go in the final. I think that it did a really good job at kind of setting up the stakes, setting up what's important and what we're dealing with now going forward. Really quick, I just want to say that I still don't think Ali is a good villain. I think that she's a big part of why this season just has not landed for me. I think that what really is setting her apart from other Arrowverse villains that are good is that there is no backstory to her character, there is no real flashbacks or real motivation behind why she's doing what she's doing. All the best Arrowverse villains got tons of episodes, or not tons of episodes, but tons of time dedicated to fleshing out why they are the way that they are, why they're doing what they're doing. We've gotten none of that with Ali, unfortunately, and the most we got was brief little snippets in the Bizarro world episode, but even that was mostly dedicated to fleshing out Bizarro, Clark and stuff. Like, we got more time fleshing out Bizarro Talro than we did fleshing out Bizarro Ali, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing seeing Bizarro Talro. I thought that was great. I'm just saying we should have gotten another episode with flashbacks that would have really delved into Bizarro Ali, like who she was before she kind of started this whole cult sort of thing. Which it is kind of crazy that like Bizarro Clark, who ended up not being the real villain, got much more time devoted to him than the actual villain of the season. On top of that, like Taro last season, in season 1, got tons of time dedicated to fleshing out why he is the way he is. We got flashbacks to him. We really did find out what makes him a villain. Same with John Henry Irons. While he was a villain, we found out why he was so against our Superman and stuff like that. We haven't gotten any of that with Ali, and I think that that's kind of an issue, and it's going to be what ultimately makes this season of Superman and Lois fall a lot lower down if I'm ever ranking the shows. But Superman's powerless. We always get that with the Arrowverse heroes. Not a complaint, because I feel like every superhero character has to go through a moment or go through an arc where they've lost their powers. Smallville used to do this like once a season and I loved it every time. I think that as far as it goes, I think it makes sense why he lost his powers now, because this season has really been about other characters standing up when Superman can't. Like, we have already seen John Henry Irons stand up when Superman was missing in the Bizarro world. We saw Jordan stand up when Superman was missing in the Bizarro world. Now we're getting the same with Natalie coming in. She's standing up now that Superman's powerless. I think that that's been a big theme of the season, so it's not really a complaint that they're doing this now. It just makes sense. I just hope that next season we don't have as much characters getting injured or characters getting taken out of the fight, because it feels like that's been happening more or less non-stop this season. We had John Henry Irons kind of getting knocked out of the fight a couple times. We had Jordan and Jonathan stuff happening to them, and we had Superman. This is like the third time this season Superman's been knocked out of the fight briefly. So I'm hoping next season we've kind of done enough of that this season. Next season I'm hoping we can do some new fresh things. But yeah, I'm expecting honestly like an Arrow season 2 final-esque moment in the Superman and Lois season 2 final. And by this I mean that with Arrow season 2, by the time the final rolled round, they had already set up a load of characters throughout the season as being possible heroes or possible good guys, and then they also divided a lot of the main characters by the time the season 2 final rolled round, so that they had this big moment where everyone was coming together. I think we're going to get that in the season 2 final of Superman and Lois, where we're going to have Superman get his powers back. We're going to have John Henry Irons return from in between the worlds. We're even going to have Tal-Rho maybe show up, because we know that he's still out there. And I would not cross out that we would get Jonathan with powers in some form in the final, like our Jonathan getting powers. Now, I'm not going to say that's a definite. Personally, I would like to leave that until like season 3, but I'm just saying that it's very possible, because I feel like Jonathan getting powers is something we're getting eventually. Like, that's something that is definitely going to happen at some point down the road. This episode had a lot of great scenes, though. One of the great scenes was Superman going to the high school gym and kind of giving a speech to the people of Smallville without powers, which that's something that I would like to see more of, is Clark in the suit, not necessarily saving people, just talking to people and just doing cool, like, upbeat things and wholesome things like that. It reminded me of Supergirl in her season 1 final, giving her speech to the world about hope and that, and it's something that I would really like to see in the final of this show, is Clark giving a speech to the world, because it's a little weird that he's there reassuring the people of Smallville but not really reassuring the people of the world. We also had a really good battle between Jordan and Natalie teaming up against evil Lana and evil Jonathan, and it was a great scene. It reminded me of like Avengers Endgame, where they're passing the hammer between them. It was really well done. One small critique that I have about that battle is we had our Lois, our Jonathan, our Sam all on the sidelines watching this happen. Now, Sam did try and take out his gun at one point, and Jonathan like immediately knocked it away. I just thought it was weird that they were just standing there yelling no, things like that, just yelling the names like Clark, Jordan, sort of thing, while the fight was going on. Now I know that there's nothing really they can do, like this is kind of a weird complaint I have. I just felt that it really slowed down the scene, where every couple seconds we'd cut to Lois or we'd cut to Jonathan yelling something, just standing still. Like, it made the scene feel slower and feel less well paced than it should have. I think that if somehow they had been removed from that room and we just had the fight happening, it would have been much better. Personally anyway, that's just how I'm kind of feeling about it. But Jordan revealed who he is to Sarah, so that's going to be really interesting going forward. I wonder how much they're going to tell Sarah. Like, are they going to tell her everything, that like, you know, Superman's his dad, all that sort of stuff. I'm kind of drawing a blank here on the scene where Lana and Sarah are talking about it, so maybe she already knows and I just completely blanked on it. But I'm really interested to see where they go with this. I think that it's good that we're kind of looping everybody sort of in now. Secret stuff is good in the early parts of shows, but I think, you know, the further on into shows you get, the secret identity stuff kind of has to go out the window for the main characters of the show. Like, I think the show gets better if everybody is kind of in the loop on everything sort of thing, and we're not kind of keeping things from other characters, sort of stuff like that. Like, I think Flash, as much as I prefer the early season to the current stuff, I prefer that the show now has kind of thrown a lot of the secret identity stuff out the window than it did in the early seasons. So I would like Superman Lois to do that too. I know a big theory going around is that Ali's going to end up merging the two worlds together. I'm not sure how I feel about this theory. I think that it would be an interesting way to go with the plot, or an interesting place to go with the story, but I think that this might create some problems for the other Arrowverse stuff, so I don't know if I want this. But speaking of the Arrowverse stuff, this is definitely like an event that Clark should be contacting the other heroes about, or the other heroes should be contacting Clark about. Like, this is a worldwide level event. At least with the Tal Rose stuff, it didn't feel like it was as worldwide as this is. Like, the Tal Rose stuff in season 1 felt very personal to Clark, whereas this is just straight up something that like Flash should be dealing with, Supergirl should be dealing with also. Now I know that you can't really bring in the characters, obviously, but I still think, like, you know, if we were gonna ever get a reference, it should be happening here. Now we know that there is possibly going to be an Arrowverse reference in the final. I'm not holding my breath it's going to be something big. I'm expecting it to kind of just be like Sam Lane saying something like the other heroes are busy, or everyone else is busy sort of thing, and they're going to say, oh, he meant the Arrowverse heroes. But I'm interested to see anyway. We know that Diggle's going to be in the final setting up season 3, so I'm interested to see that as well, especially considering where Flash left off with his character. But yeah, just a few minor critiques with the episode, but I'm still enjoying it. I just think that season 2, it has some like villain problems and stuff that I wish they would have fixed by now. But how did you feel about Superman Lois this week? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and all of that. And I hope you have a great day.